Hey guys, today I would like to show you a game from the Dortmund Sparkassen Chess Meeting. Third round, Nepomniatchi played against the German #1 Liviu-Dieter Nisipeanu, and I thought this was just a very nice game to show. A little bit different than what I usually show on my channel, so maybe a good change. So let's see what happened there. Nepomniatchi with the white pieces. Maybe I should switch to the board view, that would be helpful. And let's begin. c4, e6, knight c3, d5, d4, knight f6. Now they have transposed to the queen's gambit variation here, and here c takes d5, the orthodox queen's gambit. Orthodox. Bishop g5, c6, so this line is quite well known. Queen to c2, stopping bishop f5, bishop to e7, e3, knight bd7, bishop d3. All logical moves so far have been played many times before, and here the main move is to castle the short side, but with knight h5, Nisipeanu still keeps some more flexibility. It's just a different approach, the second most played move in this position. Takes. And now knight g2 is the main move, but Nepo decides to castle long right away. And we have a little bit of a different version of this Carlsbad structure, because usually in this structure, with white having a majority on the king side and black having a majority on the queen side, both kings have castled short, which allows white to attack these pawns with the so-called minority attack. Here it's different, however, because if you want to do this, you have to be careful with your king. On the other hand, black also has to decide where to castle. If he castles short now, well then white has free way to start pushing his pawns and attack. So usually, as a rule of thumb, both sides are kind of waiting on each other, and now that white has decided where to castle, black castles in the same direction. So this is what we're going to see here. Knight b6, knight f3, knight f6. The knight had to come back at some point anyway, wasn't too well placed on h5, king b1, bishop e6, king a1. The king is well placed here on a1, getting out of any checks, and white can use the b and c file if he wants to. Maybe even play b4 at some point. And now castle. So here we have the situation where both sides have castled long, and this means that, well, white might be able to play with b4 at some point. We'll see this in the game. One typical idea is though to go knight a4 and try to put a knight on c5, which is a nice square here for the knight. On the other hand, black has a similar nice square for his knight on e4. Here, and also in the next move, I think black would be just fine taking on a4. Not quite sure what Nisi did not like here. He played king b8, rook c1, and really now he should take on a4. Also here already white could have played knight c5, of course, but he played rook c1, and here just knight takes a4, queen takes, now knight comes to e4, and this should be fine. Black could follow up with something like bishop f5, try to exchange these bishops, and the position is roughly equal. After rook e8, knight c5, the position remains roughly equal, but with this knight on c5, at least to me, it always seems more comfortable to play with white. And here Nepo goes for b4. He continues with his pressure play. He goes b4, he wants to push the pawns forward and open up the position on the queen side. And he's not afraid about his king right now, because there's no way that black can get to the king since the structure is closed. There's no way for black to suddenly open up the position. Knight e4, decent move here, bring the knight to the central square. a4, and now knight to d6. So the knight can also go to c4, which would be quite a nice square, and this is why Nepo plays knight to d2. Stopping knight c4, and here Nisipeanu goes queen to f6, attacking the pawn on f2. But instead there was also an interesting option, queen g5. Similar idea, attacking this pawn. The point is that if white goes g3, now black goes queen f6, and here unlike in the game, white couldn't go rook f1 because of bishop h3 would be annoying. We also don't want to move this f2 pawn because then the e3 pawn becomes a weakness. So here you would need to do something else after queen f6, or you would need to do something here, for example a5. Knight to c4, takes, 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 queen takes g2, and this position is rather unclear. White has some ideas with b5 and a6. On the other hand, the bishop is also a good defender here on c8, so probably around equal. Queen f6 is also fine, rook hf1, but now bishop f5. This is the right strategical idea for black to exchange this bishop, because this is the problem in the Carlsbad structure in general most of the time, that his bishop is not a good piece. It's just a defender and it's not doing much, whereas the white bishop is controlling a lot of the important squares and is a much better piece. So bishop f5, good strategic point. However, concretely it's working for black, but he has to be careful, and we'll see why. Bishop takes f5, queen takes, we get into the endgame. You might say, okay, but now black has solved all his problems, right? He can bring the knight back to d6, go to c4 and so on, but white immediately is doing something here, plays a5, and here this is the critical moment. Here black will need to find knight to a8. He played knight d7 and then he comes under pressure for the rest of the game. Knight a8 was necessary so that after a6 black can go b6, and compared to the game, white cannot exchange the knights now and then take on c6. So you cannot win a pawn after knight d3. Trying to get to e5. Black can even play f6 because if the rook takes c6, knight c7, he will be able to win back the pawn on a6. And this should be still okay for black, as he's controlling the important squares. The knight cannot come to e5, to c5, so the knights are not really swinging into action right now, and this should be okay. After knight d7, however, it becomes unpleasant, and here it really turns into a positional masterpiece by Nepo. a6, so this is a typical idea to break open the pawn chain here, and black cannot keep his structure intact. Like I said, if b6, there's knight takes d7 followed by rook takes c6. This would be bad. So black takes on c5, now pawn takes c5, and this allows white to use the b file. King to c7, a takes b7, rook b8, and here nice maneuver, bringing the king away from the a file and putting it on a beautiful square on c3. The king is completely safe and white can make use of the a file or b file if needed. First you might look at the position and say, well, black is controlling the b file and what's wrong? Well, the problem is this pawn on a7, which is a weakness, and also we'll see this pawn on c6 is a weakness, whereas the white structure doesn't have any weaknesses at all. So white can just go after these pawns without having to fear any counterplay, and all the black can do is stay passive. So from here on, it's just a very difficult position to defend. Maybe a computer can do it, for a human, incredibly difficult. Rook b5, rook a1, king b7, now doubling on the a file, rook a8. So far, black's defending, but white has ways to improve his position. Now the rooks are perfect. What you want to do? What just happened? Wow. Okay, well, I'm sorry guys, let me open up the game again. That was a little bit unexpected, but it would be also slightly unfortunate to go over this whole game again. Sorry. I had not had this happen to me before. So we stopped about here, I believe. Yes, I was just about to say, so let's turn the engine on again. Sorry for the interruption. I was just about to say that white has improved the position of his rooks, and now he wants to improve the position of his knight. This is a good technique to ask yourself, which piece is not perfectly placed yet? How can I improve it? And here the knight is the piece. And also what I find interesting here, some might say, okay, let's bring the knight to a5, but okay, looks pretty on a5, but doesn't do that much. So Nepo realized the knight needs to go somewhere else. And here we see the route. Beautiful. Knight to b1, knight a3, knight c2, knight b4, knight d3, and so on. And on d3 will be perfect, as can aim to the king side if needed, and also to the queen side attack the pawn c6. So let's see how this plays out. Rook to a6, not allowing black to do much here. King b7, now rook comes back, also just repeating moves once, and now the knight goes to a3. And black's just completely passive. He has to keep defending his pawn weaknesses. Now the knight comes to b4, f6, f3, and here white is making use of another idea. He wants to push his pawns. He threatens e4 now, which would open up the pawn chain and allow white to create sooner or later a passed pawn. So black goes f5, stops it, but this has another drawback. Now the knight comes to d3 and white has a beautiful outpost here available. King to e6, knight e5, rook c7. Black is still holding on, but already here he's pretty much in a Zugzwang. All his pieces are defending pawns, and what is he going to do next? All I can think of is moving the king back and forth, really. So what does white do here? g4. Opens up a second front. In this case, well, I'm sure there would be also other ways to do it, but you still need to win it, right? And this is the technique of two weaknesses. So here you could say one weakness is, in general, the queen side. Black has two weaknesses, here he has to defend. Now white opens up another side, another front, to get to another weakness and use the files on the king side to penetrate and then finish the job there, and that's what we're going to see. And here, of course, this is exacerbated by the fact that black really doesn't have any moves to begin with. But this is a common technique: play on one side of the board, then open another front on the other side of the board to come around there. Okay, h5, h3, takes. Black's really running out of moves here. Now he's playing king f6, but now we see this, what I was talking about. White is coming in from the other side, brings the rook to f7, going after another weakness here, the pawn g7. Yet again, black is able to defend, but now he's really running out of moves, and this is the point where he pretty much ran out here. Nisipeanu resigned. He could have played one more move, which is rook c7, and now white could play pretty much any king move, king d3, and you have a perfect situation of Zugzwang. Zugzwang is when every move you make worsens your position, and this is the fact here. Right now, black's defending everything miraculously, but he will not be able to keep doing so. If he moves the rook, then the pawn c6 is hanging. Well, actually, let's show this. Well, actually, what do I want to show? Knight takes c6. Okay, this is simple enough, of course. And if the rook goes here, then the a7 pawn hangs. And if this rook moves, the g7 pawn hangs. And still, white keeps all the pressure. So this is just completely hopeless. And a nicely played game by Nepomniatchi, who made use of the fact that Nisipeanu, when entering this endgame, maybe misevaluated it or did not evaluate it as dangerous as it really was, and then found himself in a hopelessly passive position, which was incredibly difficult to defend. So it seemed to me that somewhere earlier it was better to play differently, or right after going into this endgame, playing with knight a8 to keep this pawn structure intact, not allowing white to open it up like this. Alright, once again, sorry for the little mishap in between, and hope you guys enjoyed the game. Let me know if you have any questions. 4 more rounds to go. Nepomniatchi in second place, right behind Jan-Christoph Duda, who's leading with 2.5 out of 3. Check out the games on the link below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.